खुदा ने हमको दी है कामरानी फसुबहानल्लज़ी औफ़ल अमानी.
The first letter I ever sent you was when I was 6 years old. Since then, my only dream was to see you.
And so there are no words to express how happy we are to see our dream being fulfilled. Jazakallah for being here.
तुझको खुदा ने सायाए रहमत बना दिया तुझको खुदा ने सायाए रहमत बना दिया मसरूर तुझ पे सायाए रहमत खुदा करे मसरूर तुझ पे सायाए रहमत खुदा करे रहमत खुदा करे तुझको खुदा ने सायाए रहमत बना दिया तुझको खुदा ने सायाए रहमत बना दिया मसरूर तुझ पे सायाए रहमत खुदा करे मसरूर तुझ पे सायाए रहमत खुदा करे रहमत खुदा करे.
No matter which country, no matter which continent, the pull towards the Khalifa is magnetic. Wherever he goes, crowds of people flock towards Huzoor. Like birds we flock to the beacon of Khilafat. These scenes are possibly most unique to Canada than they are anywhere else, with Peace Village having been developed right next to Bayt al-Islam Mosque. A large neighborhood of approximately 260 homes, Peace Village was developed in 1999 and is home to a large number of families that belong to the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. Join us in this special series for the incredible journey of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, in Canada, and let us bring you closer to this North American country. As Hazrat Amir al-Momineen's visit to Canada reaches its halfway point, last week Huzoor met with prominent CBC personality Peter Mansbridge and was interviewed for the program Mansbridge One-on-One. Later, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, traveled to Ontario to meet with local Ahmadi members. During his stay in the country's capital, Huzoor met with the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, at Parliament Hill, along with other government officials and members of Parliament. During this historic trip to Parliament Hill, Huzoor delivered a keynote address at a reception held in his honor. On Tuesday, October 18th, Hazrat Amir al-Momineen arrives back in Peace Village. Members of the Jamaat have been waiting for Huzoor's return. Whilst during the evening, before prayers, Huzoor conducts the Ameens of some very fortunate children. On Friday, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, delivered his weekly Friday sermon from Bayt al-Islam Mosque in Peace Village, the third of his Canadian tour. During his sermon, Huzoor reflected upon the lives of two distinguished personalities of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Imam Bashir Ahmed Rafiq Khan Sahib and Dr. Nusrat Jahan, who both passed away in England on the 11th of October, 2016.
आज मैं जमात के दो खादमों को जिक्र करूँगा जिनकी गुज़श्ता दिनों वफ़ात हुई है, जिनमें से एक मुकर्रम बशीर अहमद रफ़ीक खान साहब हैं और दूसरी फजल उमर अस्पताल की शोभा गायने की डॉक्टर नुसरत जहाँ. जो इंसान भी दुनिया में आया, इसने एक दिन यहाँ से रुखसत होना है, लेकिन खुशकिस्मत होते हैं वो جن کو اللہ تعالیٰ دین کی خدمت کی بھی توفیق عطا فرمائے اور انسانیت کی خدمت کی بھی توفیق عطا فرمائے.
Speaking of the notable aspects of Imam Bashir Ahmed Rafiq Khan's illustrious life, Huzoor highlighted his lengthy service as the Imam of the Fazl Mosque, the first mosque built in London, as well as his passion to spread the true peaceful teachings of Islam through various means.
ان کے بیٹے لکھتے ہیں کہ بڑی باقاعدگی سے تہجد ادا کرتے اور بڑے التزام سے دعا کیا کرتے تھے، یہاں تک کہ نام لکھ کر دعا کرتے تاکہ کسی کا نام بھول نہ جائیں. کثرت سے درود بھیجنے والے، چندے کی اہمیت کو ہم پہ بڑا واضح کیا. اللہ تعالیٰ کے فضل سے بڑی بھرپور زندگی انہوں نے گزاری ہے. خلافت سے بھی ان کا بڑا وفا کا تعلق تھا اور ان کو دل کی بڑی تکلیف تھی. بڑا عرصہ دل کی آپریشن بھی ہوا ان کا. ایک تو وقت میں تو بالکل ناامیدی کی کیفیت تھی، پھر اللہ تعالیٰ نے نئی زندگی دی. اس بیماری کی وجہ سے ان کو کمزوری بھی بہت ہوتی تھی، لیکن بڑی باقاعدگی سے یہ نہ صرف خط لکھتے تھے مجھے اور وفا کا اور اخلاص کا اظہار کیا کرتے تھے، بلکہ جہاں بھی ان کو پتہ لگتا کہ میں جس فنکشن میں شامل ہو رہا ہوں یہ ضرور وہاں آیا کرتے تھے. اور پھر واکر کے ذریعے سے یا جس طرح بھی بعض دفعہ کمزوری میں نے دیکھا ان کو جمعوں پہ ضرور شامل ہوا کرتے تھے، چل کے آتے تھے. اللہ تعالیٰ ان سے مغفرت اور رحم کا سلوک فرمائے اور ان کی درجات بلند کرے، اور ان کی اولاد کو بھی اخلاص و وفا سے جماعت کے ساتھ تعلق رکھنے اور ان کے نقش قدم پر چلنے کی توفیق عطا فرمائے.
Highlighting the life and services of Dr. Nusrat Jahan, Huzoor shared that she was a renowned obstetrician and gynecologist in Pakistan who had dedicated her life for the service of humanity by serving in the Fazl-e-Umar Hospital in Rabwa, Pakistan. Huzoor emphasized that during the time she studied and worked in the UK, she never compromised her parda and thus was an exemplary role model for girls.
اور پردے کا انہوں نے جہاں بھی یو کے میں بھی تعلیم حاصل کی، اس کے بعد اپنے ہسپتالوں میں یہاں اپنے علم میں اضافے کے لیے بھی آتی تھیں، لیکن ہمیشہ انہوں نے نقاب کا پردہ کیا اور پورا برقع پہنا اور کبھی کوئی کمپلیکس نہیں تھا، اور سارے کام بھی کیے پردے کے اندر رہتے ہوئے. اس لیے وہ لڑکیاں جن کو یہ بہانہ ہوتا ہے کہ ہم پردے میں کام نہیں کر سکتی، ان کے لیے ایک نمونہ تھیں. اور اللہ تعالیٰ فضل مند ہسپتال کو خدمت کرنے والی اور وفا کے ساتھ اپنے کام کو پورا کرنے والی، وفا کے ساتھ جماعت سے وابستہ رہنے والی اور خلافت کی اطاعت گزار مزید ڈاکٹر بھی عطا فرماتا رہے، اور جو موجود ہیں ان کو اللہ تعالیٰ اس کام میں بڑھاتا چلا جائے.
Following the conclusion of the Friday sermon, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, led the Bayt ceremony at the Bayt al-Islam Mosque. Thousands of Ahmadis emotionally pledged allegiance to Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad as the fifth Khalifa of the promised Messiah, on whom be peace. By placing their hands on the shoulders of their fellow brothers, the faithful echoed the words of the pledge in body and spirit. For many, this was their very first Bayt ceremony. Their emotions from the spiritually charged moment glowed on their faces.
Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbin wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbin wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi min kulli dhanbin wa atubu ilayh.
Later on Friday, Hazrat Amirul Momineen graced two classes that were attended by students who were attending post-secondary institutions, such as university, college, and Aisha Academy. It also included those students who had recently graduated from a post-secondary institution. The first class was with Lajna students. After recitation from the Holy Quran and a short nazm, some of the graduate students from among the Lajna presented research they were currently working on. After the presentations, Huzoor allowed the Lajna students to ask questions for the remainder of the class.
Assalamu alaikum, Huzoor. मैंने पूछना था कि क्या बीवी का हक है कि वो हक महर मांग सकती है शादी के बाद जब चाहे?
बीवी का हक है कि वो शादी से पहले भी हक महर मांग सकती है, राइट? हक महर है इसलिए कि तुम पहले दो, राइट? और अगर तुम नहीं देती तो ख़ावंद का फ़र्ज़ है कि दे। इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी कि when there is मैट्रिमोनियल प्रॉब्लम है और फिर तुम कज़ा में जाओ और फिर कहो कि मेरा हक महर दो मुझे, ठीक है? हक महर तो, हक का मतलब क्या है? इट्स योर राइट, हक इज़ राइट, सो यू आर वेरी मच इंटाइटल्ड टू क्लेम फॉर योर हक महर।
क्योंकि आसपास जो भी मैंने औरतों से सुना है तो ज़्यादातर कहती हैं कि उन्हें नहीं मिला हक महर कभी, और वो पूछती भी नहीं है।
हक महर नहीं मिला तो नहीं पूछती, तो कमज़ोरी दिखाती हैं, डर जाती हैं हमलों से।
अच्छा,
ठीक है
जी।
एक दफ़ा हज़रत मसीह मौद अलैहिस्सलाम के एक साहबी ने उनको कहा कि हुजूर हक महर की बात हो रही थी। उन्होंने कहा जी मेरी 2 बीवियाँ और मेरा 500 रुपये हक महर है। उस ज़माने 500 बड़ा अमाउंट होता था, तो उन्होंने मुझे माफ़ कर दिया है। हज़रत मूसा ने फरमाया कि तुमने उनके हाथ पे रखा है, हर एक को दिया 500 रुपया, फिर कि नहीं, उन्होंने कह दिया हम नहीं लेना माफ़। उन्होंने नहीं, जाओ और उनके हाथ पे रखो। वो बेचारा गरीब आदमी, उन्होंने किसी से कर्ज़ लिया और जाके 500 रुपया एक बीवी को दिया, 500 दूसरी को, और अब कहा तुमने मेरा हक महर माफ़ कर दिया था तो अब मुझे वापस करो। उन्होंने कहा हम तो तुम्हें गरीब आदमी समझे थे, इसलिए हमने कहा देना दूना तो है नहीं, तो घर में फसाद क्यों डालें, इसलिए हमने कहा चलो माफ़ किया। अब तुमने दे दिया तो तुम दौड़ जाओ यहाँ से। हाँ, तो हक महर तो ये है, माफ़ मुफ़ कोई नहीं होता, हक महर कभी भी माफ़ नहीं होता। ख़ावंद को कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि पहले दिन दे दे।
For the Khudam class, students presented their research to Huzoor, after which Hazrat Amir al-Momineen further inquired about their research and allowed for other students to ask the presenters questions as well.
The focus of my research, Huzoor, is cancer, and the specific topic that I will be presenting is the role of the protein PHF6 in regulating gene expression, specifically rRNA, which controls the production of all of the proteins in our body. We know that there's many different kinds of cancers, and the specific type of cancer that I focus on is leukemia, also known as blood cancer. And even within blood cancer, there are many different types, and the one that I focus on, Huzoor, is TAL, which is a cancer that affects white blood cells in the body.
Then, what is the outcome till now? Because you didn't tell anything.
So far, the outcome is that we're able to understand, for example, PHS6, we knew before that it was mutated in patients, but we didn't know what PHF6 was doing.
Achha.
So now we know that it may be involved in regulating our...
You did only laboratory tests or you applied to on some patients as well?
Huzoor, I only work in the laboratory so far.
Achha.
But inshallah, my goal is to pursue medicine, and then maybe I'll have some experience with hand-on patients.
Achha.
My question is that once the PHF6 is knocked down, as you mentioned, PHF6 is basically the protein. So once it's knocked down, then what is its result on cancer?
So from my research, it seems that PHF6 acts as a tumor suppressor. So cancer, like I said, there's 4 hallmarks that cancer needs to sustain unlimited growth. So for cancer to be able to do that, one of the proteins that needs to stop functioning seems to be PHF6 in some cases of cancer. So it's almost like a tumor suppressor.
On Saturday, October 22nd, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Canada held its inaugural National Peace Symposium. The highlight of this event was the keynote address delivered by Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper. The event was held at Awan-e-Tahir, and the attendees included the Mayor of Vaughan, Honorable Mauricio Bevilacqua, Member of Parliament Deb Schult, and City Councillor Marilyn Iafredi. Prior to Huzoor's address, presentations were delivered by a few of the notable guests.
This year, it's been, Your Holiness, in this community, it has been an incredible, incredible year as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community here in Canada. To say that you have contributed to the well-being of this community is an understatement. You have been full partners. Your presence is felt every day in every way in the civic life of this great city of ours.
It's a real honor to be here with Your Holiness, with all of the Ahmadiyya community and its leaders, and all the guests gathered here today. My message is short. My message is really a message of thanks. I want to thank His Holiness very much for taking the time to come to Parliament Hill. He gave a wonderful speech with a message of course, love for all and hatred for none, focusing on religious tolerance around the world. He also included several suggestions on policy direction that we might want to take, and we very much appreciate the time that he took to share his wisdom with us.
I guess this is the first time I've met His Holiness here in home turf in the village of Maple in the city of Vaughan, and I'm extremely happy, extremely excited, and in fact, most people will know that I'm probably the most ardent champion of this community, a community that speaks to love, speaks to tolerance, speaks to giving back to the community, which is very unique. And I am very, very proud that I had this honor today to be here in the 50th anniversary year of the Ahmadiyya community in the city of, in Canada. So,
with an audience of over 600 people, consisting of local guests and government officials, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, reiterated that the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat was not a community that had deviated from Islam or changed in any way. Rather, the Jamaat followed Islam's authentic teachings.
It is absolutely true that we Ahmadi Muslims are peace-loving and seek to build bridges of love and hope between different religious and different communities. However, this is not because we have deviated from Islam or modernized it in any shape or form. Rather, it is because we follow Islam's authentic teachings. As I have just said, Islam's core teachings revolve around fulfilling the rights of God Almighty and fulfilling the rights of His creation. We live in a time when it is often alleged that Islam seeks to deny others their rights, but the complete opposite is true. Islam is the religion and that teaching which has taken up that mantle of defending and protecting every religion and all people. Islam is the defender of Christians and Jews. It is the defender of Hindus and Sikhs, and it is the defender of the people of all other faiths and beliefs. These are the unique and unparalleled standards of Islam, wherein the early Muslims gave their lives in order to protect the institution of religion and to guarantee the principle of freedom of belief.
Toward the end of his address, Hazrat Amirul Momineen once again warned those in the audience of the possibility of an imminent Third World War.
Also of the deepest concern is the fact that opposing blocs and alliances are rapidly forming amongst the major powers. The influence of such countries is far greater than less developed nations. And so, the formation of rival blocs amongst the major powers is extremely dangerous for the future of the world. We must urgently address such issues because otherwise we are charging madly towards catastrophic and devastating world war. The consequences of such a war do not bear thinking about. The misery, horror, and destruction could last for generations to come. Therefore, we can only hope and pray that Allah the Almighty grants wisdom and sense to humanity. May every nation and every person come to fulfill the rights of others, and may justice prevail over all forms of injustices.
After this enlightening address, Hazrat Amirul Momineen led silent prayers before dinner was served. Huzoor later met with several non-Ahmadi guests, and photos were taken.
I'm a Canadian immigrant and love the idea of us having a community where everybody shares common values. So I found it very inspiring and looking forward to more interaction with the Ahmadiyya community.
I am full of emotions after having met His Holiness, and I am so impressed with the message of peace that he transmits, and he's an inspiration to all of us if we would only listen to him and do as he says.
Actually, I've been following him on the internet. I've been watching the Jalsa Salana in London just a few months ago, and then the recently Jalsa Salana there in the Parliament Hill that he visited with the Prime Minister. And I was keep telling to my friend that I wish I can see him and I can meet him. And finally, I meet him today, and I get his signature. I'm so emotional, and I'm so blessed that her message is really strong. That it's like step on the it's really sharp, and it's really good that we have a leader, religious leader in the worldwide that wants nothing but just to love and peace for the humankind.
On Sunday, October 23rd, students from Jamia Ahmadiyya Canada, along with the Hufaz of the boys' Hifzul Quran school, were graced with the presence of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper. Jamia Ahmadiyya Canada is a post-secondary institution. During this class, students from both Jamia and the boys' Hifzul Quran school gave short presentations, after which students were given the chance to ask Hazrat Amirul Momineen questions.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मेरा सवाल ये है कि कुछ लोग आपको ख़त नहीं लिखना चाहते रेगुलरली या हफ्तावार, क्योंकि वो आपका दिन इतना मसरूफ़ होता है और वो समझते हैं कि आपका टाइम वेस्ट हो रहा है, तो उसके बारे में
एक बहाना है, टाइम वेस्ट हो रहा है। तो फिर ये बाज़ दफ़ा अगर तो हकीकत में ये है और वो ऐसे शख्स फिर दुआ ज़रूर कर रहे हों मेरे लिए, हैं, ठीक है ना, कम से कम 2 नफल तो पढ़ते हो ना फिर ऐसे शख्स दुआ करके। लेकिन वो भी नहीं, दुआ भी नहीं कर रहे और ख़त भी नहीं लिख रहे, तो फिर ताल्लुक़ नहीं कायम हो सकता, ठीक है। अगर तो लंबे लंबे ख़त लिखो ना लिखो, 1-2 सफ़े के लिखो, महीने में या 1 या 2 ख़त लिखो, ताल्लुक़ कायम। वो भी पता हो ये कहानियाँ लंबी लिखने के बजाय हैं, बल्कि काम की बात भी लिखनी हो तो मुख्तसर ख़त लिखना चाहिए। मैं तो हमेशा जमाती तौर पे भी ज़ाती तौर पे भी जो हुसैन सालिस को और राबे को ख़त लिखा करता था, तो पहले सोचता था कि क्या मज़मून है, और फिर सोचता था कि 4-5 लाइनों से ज़्यादा का ख़त नहीं होना चाहिए, ताकि उनकी नज़रों के सामने आ जाएँ और सारे पॉइंट सामने आ जाएँ, उसका जवाब भी आ जाते हैं। 300 ख़त लिखोगे तो वो मेरी डाक की टीम को चला जाएगा, वो खुलासा 1 लाइन का बना के उसको मुझसे दे देंगे, ठीक। और हो सकता है कि उस जो खुलासा वो बनाएं उसमें वो पॉइंट ना निकाल सकें जिसको तुम हाईलाइट करना चाहते हो। इसलिए मुख्तसर बात करनी चाहिए, और जामिया के तलबा को तो ज़रूर लिखना चाहिए, اور مربیان کو بھی. ٹھیک ہے.
میرا نام فرحاد رانا ہے.
ہاں.
میرا سوال یہ ہے کہ حضرت مسلم موعود کے ساتھ آپ کو کوئی ذاتی واقعہ یاد ہوگا؟
حضرت مسلم موعود کی جب وفات ہوئی تو میں 15 سال کا تھا. ٹھیک. اور ہیں مختلف چھوٹے چھوٹے واقعات، لیکن ایک میں واقعہ وہ بتا دیتا ہوں. میں پہلے ہی بتا چکا ہوں بعضوں کو. حضرت مرزا شریف احمد صاحب جو حضرت مسلم موعود سب سے چھوٹے بھائی تھے، میرے دادا، وہ جب میں 11 سال کا تھا وہ فوت ہو گئے تھے 1961 میں. غالباً 59 یا 58 یا 59 کی بات ہے. ایک دن مجھے اپنے ساتھ لے جایا کرتے تھے، کبھی باہر جانا ہے، بازار جانا ہے، ادھر ادھر بچوں کے جس طرح لے جاتے ہیں نا، جب داداؤں کا شوق ہوتا ہے بچوں کو لے جاتے ہیں انگلی پکڑ کے. ایک دن مجھے کہتے چلو خلیفہ احمد ثانی کے گھر جانا ہے، قصر خلافت جانا ہے. قصر خلافت میں گئے تو مسجد مبارک کی طرف ایک دروازہ ہوتا تھا جہاں سے مسلم ثانی نماز کے لیے آیا کرتے تھے، اور اوپر رہتے تھے، اوپری منزل تھی. تو نیچے آ کے وہ کھڑے ہو گئے، مجھے کہا کہ تم اوپر جاؤ اور جا کے بتاؤ کہ میں آیا ہوں ملاقات کرنے، ملنا ہے. تو میں اوپر گیا، اور مریم صدیقہ صاحبہ چھوٹی آپا جنہیں کہتے ہیں تھیں حضرت مسلم موعود کے پاس، ان کو میں نے جا کے کہا اس طرح آئے ہیں حضرت شریف احمد صاحب، ملنا ہے ثانی سے. ان دنوں میں ان کی یہ میرا خیال نہیں 59 نہیں بلکہ 60 کی بات ہی ہوگی، کیونکہ لیٹے ہوئے تھے، وہ طبیعت ٹھیک نہیں تھی مسلم موعود کی. 59 یا 60 کی بات ہے. تو انہوں نے کہا ٹھیک ہے. لیٹے ہوئے تھے، انہوں نے ایک کرسی حضرت مسلم موعود کے سرانے رکھ دی تاکہ آئیں تو شریف احمد صاحب وہاں بیٹھ جائیں. میں نیچے گیا، ان کو اوپر بلا کے لے آیا. تو وہ آئے اور آ کے تو کرسی پہ نہیں بیٹھے، کیونکہ نیچے فرش پہ بیٹھ گئے. سرانے ان کے کرسی پیچھے کر دی. جو باتیں کرنی تھی پڑھنی، کوئی جماعتی باتیں تھیں، بہرحال وہ کرتے رہے. مجھے تو نہیں سمجھ آئی نہ، بلکہ ویسے میں دور چلا گیا تھا. اور اس کے بعد کھڑے ہوئے اسلام کیا، اور بڑے احترام سے کھڑے ہو کے تو کچھ دیر الٹے قدموں پھر ذرا دور جا کے سیدھے ہو کے تو باہر نکل گئے. تو یہ پہلا سبق بغیر بولے جو انہوں نے مجھے سکھایا وہ خلافت کے احترام کا تھا. جو خلیفہ ثانی کا بھی میں دیکھا، اور پھر جو خلیفہ ثانیوں سے جب باتیں کر رہے تھے ان کی نظر میں بھی جو ایک خاص تعلق ٹپک رہا تھا، اور باتوں سے بھی وہ محسوس کر رہا تھا. مجھے سمجھ تو نہیں آ رہی تھی، لیکن محسوس کر رہا تھا کہ دونوں طرف سے ایک محبت ہے. تو یہ چیز ایک واقعہ ہے.
After gifting each student with a monogrammed pen and taking photos, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, proceeded to take a tour. Huzoor first visited the boys' Hifzul Quran school, which was located behind Awan-e-Tahir. Afterwards, Hazrat Amirul Momineen took a short detour and visited the Aisha Academy and girls' Hifzul Quran school. The Aisha Academy was first opened in 2011 as a post-secondary institution for female members of the Jamaat between ages of 17 and 30 years. In July 2012, Huzoor said during a class with the Aisha Academy students that at least 25% of Lajna should attend the academy. After viewing the Aisha Academy and its offices, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, may Allah be his helper, returned to Jamia, where the privileged students were able to have lunch in Huzoor's presence. On Monday, October 24th, 2016, Hazrat Amirul Momineen held a mulaqat with Arab Lajna.
Assalamu alaikum, Huzoor. I remember the first letter I ever sent you was when I was 6 years old. I invited you to come to our house, and you said that inshallah you will come.
Inshallah.
And since then, my only dream was to see you.
But I didn't give you any specific time.
No, you didn't. And then Your Holiness sent us or advised my father to go to Ghana. And 3 years in Ghana, I only wished to see your face. And alhamdulillah, here when we came to Canada, alhamdulillah, my dream came true.
Later on, Huzoor met with the Honorable Bonnie Crombie, Mayor of Mississauga. The mayor expressed her sentiments upon meeting Hazrat Amirul Momineen. On Wednesday, October 26th, Hazrat Amirul Momineen sat down for an interview with one of Canada's largest national newspapers, The Globe and Mail. With a weekly readership of around 7 million, it is one of the most widely read newspapers across the country. The journalist from The Globe and Mail was interested in learning about Ahmadis and the persecution they face in Pakistan.
They enacted a law in 1974 during Bhutto regime, declaring Ahmadis as not Muslims for the cause of law and constitution, for the purpose of law and constitution. As we were practicing what Muslims practice, we were calling adhan in our mosque, praying openly. Whether other mainstream Muslims consider us Muslims or not, but we were doing all these things which Muslims do. Later on in 1984, during Ziaul Haq regime, this law was further reinforced by the order of the martial administrator, that Ahmadis cannot claim themselves to be Muslim. They cannot profess and practice as Muslims do. They cannot even name their children as Muslims are given the names, Muslim children are given the names. And we cannot call azan, even we cannot say Assalamu alaikum, a Muslim greeting. If you do it, you will be imprisoned for 3 years.
In the evening, Huzoor once again presided over the Ameens of several children before Maghrib and Isha prayers. Join us next week for the next episode highlighting week 5 of Huzoor's 6-week visit to the North American country.
Zindabad, tu zindabad, zindabad, zindabad. तेरे साए में आगे बढ़ेंगे, आगे पीछे तेरे हम लड़ेंगे, तेरे साए में आगे बढ़ेंगे, आगे पीछे तेरे हम लड़ेंगे, दीन अहमद के परचम गढ़ेंगे.